This week, the federal government announced it's delaying the budget until at least April. Finance Minister Joe Oliver is still vowing to balance the books, but he's giving himself more time to do that, and that's because the falling price of oil is leading to economic uncertainty in this country. For more on some of the economic headwinds the government faces, let's bring in our chief political correspondent, Tom Clark. Tom.
Well, on the economic front, it could not have been a worse week for the government. They sort of lost their footing on one of their key and fundamental foundations, and that is economic management. Think of it. Within 48 hours at the end of last week, they lost over 20,000 jobs across the country. And on top of that, the situation was so uncertain that Joe Oliver had to delay the budget until at least April, perhaps even beyond that, because, as he said, quite frankly, he wasn't sure what was going on, especially, of course, with oil prices. And even though the oil sector represents anywhere from about 5 to 10% of the Canadian economy, its spin-off effect is huge. And so for the federal government, what they lose when oil prices go down are things like corporate tax revenues, even personal tax revenues. If you don't have that many people working, you're not getting that type of revenue. That all said, Joe Oliver was saying by the end of the week, in essence, nothing to see here, folks. Everything's fine. Move along. Take a listen.
And I'm proud that our government is on track to achieve a budgetary balance next year. And that will be based on our private sector forecasts, as in the past. There is nothing new here.
Nothing new. Well, there are a few things new, like a looming deficit, according to Toronto Dominion Bank, among others. Now, the government is saying that they do have a $3 billion contingency fund that can be used to soak up some of that deficit, but a lot of people are saying that that isn't simply going to be enough. One person who knows exactly what's going on in the Ministry of Finance right now, among all those people who are trying to find that elusive deficit in that red ink, is the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Scott Clark. And here's what he had to say about what's at stake for the government in this coming budget.
Well, let's put it this way. I think it's a huge challenge. And what's really at risk here is the credibility of the government.
In the end, essentially what the government has done is bought a little bit of time, bought some time to see if oil prices will in fact rebound by April. Of course, they may go the other way as well, but essentially they bought some time to figure out what they should say and do next.